Welcome back, everyone. 14 and a half after the hour. And today in Behind the Headlines, we're going to take a look at the world of sports, and more particularly mixed martial arts, and very specifically the Ultimate Fighting Championship. That's the UFC, for those of you not in the know, and it's become more and more popular, securing a major contract with Fox Sports to be televising their fights. And of course, still a big draw in the on-demand box office world. The most recent fight, UFC 183, featured a very high-profile pair of fighters. Anderson Spider Silva, who's been considered pound for pound the best mixed martial artist in the sport. He is in line for another title rematch. Now, he had a gruesome leg injury during a kick and broke his leg and has been away from the fight game for quite a while as he's healing. This fight, UFC 183, marked his return to a major event, and it featured him fighting against a man named Nick Diaz. Now, we know of Nick Diaz here at 420 Radio and the Russ Belville Show from the numerous times that he has been an advocate for medical cannabis use. He is a medical marijuana patient in the state of California. And we've covered him and his brother and other mixed martial artists as they have dealt with the hypocrisy of a sport that allows for all sorts of painkillers to be used by these athletes after they get bludgeoned and beaten and bloodied, but eschews the use of natural medical marijuana, even in the states where it's legal. Now, there's been some movement lately on this particular issue. The mixed martial arts world, which is governed by usually the state athletic associations, they recently moved their drug testing standard on marijuana up to 150 nanograms per milliliter of marijuana metabolite. And that's where this story begins. Nick Diaz and Anderson Silva, of course, have to do pre-fight and post-fight drug tests. Now, leading up to the fight, Nick Diaz was having difficulty turning in a passing drug test, let's say. Even at 150 nanograms, he was still having trouble passing. And according to the website MMAfighting.com, he was not licensed to fight on Saturday night until the week of the fight. He couldn't provide a clean drug sample to the Nevada Athletic Commission until days before the bout, his coach, Cesar Gracie, said. Of course, the Gracie family, legendary in mixed martial arts circles as well. So he did turn in a drug test that was less than 150 nanograms. But then, post-fight, he was caught for having had 300 nanograms in his system, which is double their threshold. According to Nick Diaz's camp, they say that he turned in a clean sample and did not use marijuana from that point on and did not use it before the fight at all. UFC is trying to say that's bullshit, because if you went from below 150 to all the way to double that, you had to have smoked marijuana. Folks, the science is unclear on this. We have no idea whether he may have smoked or not. But the point is, this is his third time failing a marijuana drug test, so he is facing the possibility of a very lengthy suspension. Now, on the other side of the octagon, Anderson Spider Silva, who's long been considered one of the star fighters of the league, and who in the past has spoken out against those who use performance enhancing substances. He said, quote, "When the guys test for steroids, they should have no more fights. When you use the steroids, you use them for a long time. When you use the steroids for a long time, you have a problem. It's a drug, and it's not good for the sport." End quote. Well, folks, you know where this one's going. Anderson Spider Silva tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs. Particularly, he tested positive for drostanolone and androstane, that are two banned steroids. Now, Anderson Silva is facing the possibility of a 9-month suspension for his use of these performance-enhancing drugs, but like all of these performance-enhancing drugs cases, it calls into question his entire legacy, his entire career, as to whether or not he was using steroids before, as he was rising up the ranks and becoming known as the best pound-for-pound fighter in mixed martial arts. It's good that the mixed martial arts world and a lot of the athletic commissions are raising their standards from the ridiculously low 15 nanograms to 150 nanograms, but it's time for them to start to consider whether or not they test for marijuana at all. In the case of Nick Diaz, he doesn't use the types of painkillers that a lot of these athletes use, the opioids that they use. He only uses medical marijuana and feels that that is better for him and for his health. It's time to stop punishing athletes for making the safer choice in painkiller in medical marijuana.